Her X account today, Powell makes reference to harassment, threats and intimidation as having influenced her decision. It comes just after a week of allegations that Powell had been spied on by state security. Known for regularly clashing with the ANC over foreign policy, Powell again ruffled feathers recently when she claimed the president's special envoy Mcebisi Jonas had been denied a US visa. Lindsay Dentlinger reports.
Emma Powell has been a DA MP since 2019. She says as a woman in politics, she knows that being bullied is part of the pressures that come with public life. Powell's recent international trips have irked the ANC, which has oftentimes viewed their purpose as counter to the country's foreign policy. This includes her trip to the US in March, which ultimately got her colleague Andrew Whitfield fired as a deputy minister, and then a sponsored trip to Israel in April. In a statement, Powell says given the complexities of the fragile government of national unity, she's achieved what she can for now. Powell has thanked her party for allowing her to travel the world on its behalf over the last 2.5 years and says she will retain her seat in Parliament to empower others, particularly women, to lead. DA Chief Whip George Mikalakis has thanked her for her service and says a new parliamentary portfolio will be assigned to her. Lindsay Dentlinger, Eyewitness News.
Alleged baby snatcher Samima Jacobs has been granted 4,000 rand bail. Jacobs appeared before the Bellville Magistrate. Alleged baby snatcher Samima Jacobs has been granted 4,000 rand bail. Jacobs appeared before the Bellville Magistrates Court on charges of kidnapping and defeating the ends of justice. According to police, she allegedly pretended to be 3 different people in her plot to abduct 9-day-old Imad Shamar from his mother in Middestart Mall in Bellville about a month ago. Carlo Peterson has that story.
Kidnapping accused Samima Jacobs was deemed fit to be granted bail in Powell Magistrates Court today. The magistrate, who has asked not to be named due to safety concerns, detailed the state and defence's arguments before making his ruling. State prosecutor Simon Salahuddin argued Jacobs could take the baby's mother, Iman Shamar, and other witnesses if she's released on bail. The magistrate told the court it is his view that there's less of a chance of Jacobs interfering with witnesses as they have already given police their statements. He says the defense also provided exceptional circumstances for Jacobs' release on bail by arguing that she has a minor child who needs parental care. After Jacobs was granted bail, the matter was postponed to the 15th of October for further investigation. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News, Powell Magistrates Court.
Staying with the courts, the state in the murder case against a mother accused of killing her 11-year-old son has asked the court to refuse her release on bail. 31-year-old Tiffany Meek is appearing before the Relebogile Magistrates Court for closing arguments in her bail hearing, where her defense has argued that she does not pose as a flight risk. Meek was arrested after police linked her to the May murder of her son, Jaden Lee Meek. She faces charges of murder and attempting to defeat the ends of justice. The state argues that preliminary evidence points to Meek's likelihood to evade trial through an address she suggested based in KZN and fears for her safety if she is released. However, her lawyer Nervin Naidu says the state has not presented any evidence before the court suggesting that she could indeed be a flight risk.
In the absence of such evidence, it is respectfully submitted that this honourable court has no other option but to come to the conclusion that the accused has discharged the onus of satisfying this honourable court that she is a suitable candidate for bail.
The president has until 2 p.m. this afternoon to file answering papers into the MK party's challenge over the appointment of an acting police minister. The party is approaching the Constitutional Court on an urgent basis to have the decision by President Cyril Ramaphosa overturned. Earlier this month, Ramaphosa placed Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on special leave following allegations made by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi claimed Mchunu was linked to some key figures in an alleged crime syndicate in Gauteng. Khomotso Modise has more.
A presidential showdown is looming in the Constitutional Court, where the MK party and its leader, former President Jacob Zuma's case against President Cyril Ramaphosa will be heard this week. The MK party is seeking to invalidate Ramaphosa's decision to place Police Minister Senzo Mchunu on special leave. The party wants this matter to be heard on an urgent basis as the appointment of acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia comes into effect on Friday. President Cyril Ramaphosa has until 2 p.m. to file his answering papers ahead of Wednesday's court battle. The MK party wants the decision to suspend Mchunu and appoint Kachalia, as well as the establishment of a Judicial Commission of Inquiry, all declared irrational and inconsistent with the Constitution. Khomotso Modise, Eyewitness News.
And Cambodia and Thailand have concluded peace negotiations, with both countries agreeing to an immediate and unconditional ceasefire. Now, the talks come after US President Donald Trump asked both nations to agree to a ceasefire as a precondition to their respective trade talks with Washington. The dispute between the two Southeast Asian countries dates back more than a century, when the borders of the two nations were drawn after the French occupation of Cambodia. Over the years, there have been sporadic clashes that have seen soldiers and civilians killed on both sides. Thailand has reported 22 deaths and 14 civilians since clashes started back up last week Thursday. Cambodia, on the other hand, has not released a national casualty toll. Gold is trading at $3,339.35 an ounce. The rand is at 17.84 to the dollar, 23.95 to the pound, 20.84 to the euro. Brent oil is at $68.44 a barrel.
Well, at this stage, there's slow-moving traffic. That's if you're heading through the Bedford View area, heading towards Alexandra. There's an accident seen on the N1 north, the N3 northbound, just before Modderfontein Road, causing huge delays all the way from Van Buren Road. So avoid that route at all costs. Also, bumper-to-bumper traffic leaving the Joburg CBD on the M2 westbound between the Crown Exchange and Main Reef Road.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng today, temperatures peaking at highs of between 15 and 18 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: the Democratic Alliance has appointed MP Ryan Smith as its new international relations spokesperson following Emma Powell's resignation from the role.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Tell us what we need to know.
702 Listens.
You're with Relebogile Mabotja
Live, streaming countrywide
on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Eight minutes after 1 o'clock. Welcome 702 Afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja. I am back and so happy to be back with all of you. Woo, guys. So many things I want to share with you. What a trip, what a moment. It was just so super. But I first off want to kick off by thanking Kabazela and Jane for standing in for me while I was away. And a big shout out to the 702 team and Prime Media team for the 702 Walk the Talk, doing the absolute most yesterday, and to all of you that came through and supported, whether you were attending or even listening from your homes and your cars. But yes, something that I want to share with you and get into with you for today. On a Monday, as we do movies and what to stream, we'll be joined by Phil Impela, entertainment commentator. Our travel feature, the Mauritius Experience, we're going to be joined by Jonathan Kabazela Fairburn for that, executive producer of Afternoon Drive with John Perlman. Parenting and Parents feature in the second hour of the show. We're going to talk about that continuation conversation we had around a friendship your child has that you might find annoying or unbearable. We now have Ayanda Tetiana joining us for that. Parenting coach and author of the book My Kid Failed, Now What? Then I'm so sorry to have to tell you this. Dr. Chris Smith is not joining us today for The Naked Scientist. He is away on holiday. However, we are going to have a very important discussion on this organ donation, specifically on World Hepatitis Day. We'll be joined by Dr. Sanju Sobnak, one of South Africa's and the world's leading transplant surgeons, Dr. David Thompson, transplant surgeon at UCT, and Dr. Bilal Bobat, who is a hepatologist from Wits and Donald Gordon Medical Center. So that's quite a big conversation that will be happening in the last half hour of the show. So get in touch with us. Give us a call. 011-883-0702. SMS us 31702. Tweet at Relebogile M. at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
702 Afternoons
With Relebogile Mabotja.
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
If you don't already know, you are able to stream the show live and see us live in action in studio by heading over to the 702 YouTube channel, and you'll be able to see us streaming the show live. If you see it says 702 Afternoon Stream, that is just the audio. There's the one that you will see that is us in studio doing the show live. So make sure you tune in. Now, what I want to share with all of you and what I want to ask you for this beginning part of the show is, what is it that you appreciate about being and living in South Africa? And the reason I really wanted to talk about this today, I've recently come back from France. I got a fantastic opportunity to travel there. I went with my younger brother, who also does my social media. He's never been to Paris. The last time I was in France was in 2007. And it was just such perfect divine intervention and timing that I was able to go on this trip. Now, there was the Paris aspect, and then there was the aspect when I was Magaeng. France, the Magaengs, the countryside, or as they refer to as the rurals in France, to stay at a chateau. Now, I can sit here and tell you about all of the amazing things that work in Europe and countries like France. Transport system, yes, on the money. Buses, trains, wonderful. But there are many other things that I am so grateful I don't have to deal with on a day-to-day. And coming back home, I had that newfound appreciation, which I have always had, though it just gets revived when you come back home, of the things you truly love and appreciate about living in South Africa. Mzansi is a country like no other. I've lost track of how many countries I've traveled to, but I have been to many countries that are quite far ahead in systems that work, but they are missing that flavor, man. They are missing that spice. Those of you that like aromat, they're missing aromat. They're missing that Nando sauce. Now, does it mean that there are no problems in South Africa? Definitely not. There are many problems in South Africa, as there are in other countries. So even with the problems that I know we have, there are things that I truly appreciate about living here at home. Let me start with number one. Now, the French have a reputation for being rude or arrogant. You might have heard it in different ways. It is not all of them. Let me make it clear. But it also is not just it also is not like this intentional, malicious thing. There are very significant cultural differences. So in relation to that, I'm just saying in general, like asking for help, I had to take out my Google Translate probably twice in Paris. The other times I could pretty much get away with the very basics that I knew. And I found that even when you start to say, bonjour, madame, tu parles anglais? And many of them will be like, no anglais, like very angrily. But if you maybe come and say, dumelang, ke kopa thuso, then they will try and speak to you in the very little broken English that they know. The lady sitting next to me on the flight is studying in France, and she was telling me that not only do many of the French or Parisians refuse to speak English, even though they know it, when you try to speak French, they will still be critical of how you speak it because you are not getting the accent and certain things right. So number one, our people are friendly. Doesn't matter what language they greet you in. We are used to having hearing multiple languages. A person can be speaking to you in Venda, in Tswana, in isiZulu. You will get around. You will figure it out because people are still willing to help. Another thing I appreciate about our country. Now, granted, Paris has 45,000 restaurants. Everywhere you go, a lot of them are French cuisine. But the food we have at home, guys, for what we pay for it in the restaurants, we are so fortunate. We have amazing food. And don't just look at pictures and be like, oh, it's so clean. Please know, there were places where it was not clean. There were places where there were cockroaches like popping out. It just sounds and looks fancy. And this is in no way a diss to France or Paris. I would go there over and over again. It is a vibe. It is an experience, especially interacting with the many different people who are from there. You have people who are immigrants from Morocco. You have people who are immigrants from Sri Lanka who are full-on Parisians. That just interesting mix of people. But there are many things I appreciate about home, and I hope you can share yours with me. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 and 702. I see you, Sean. I see you, Steve, and your messages on the WhatsApp line.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
Lieutenant General, what's your message to some South Africans that are beginning to panic, especially those in the Free State? What assurances can you give them in as far as the work that you're doing on the ground?
For our South Africans and Free Staters to alleviate these concerns and fears is that with the measures that we have put in place since the emergence of this particular Malatanaha group, I can attest to the fact that we are doing anything and everything to our power to make sure that we do not allow lawlessness to take place in our country.
Lieutenant General Tibelo Musikidi is the co-chairperson of NetJoint.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
It all starts with FNB Private. Diversify your portfolio to grow your wealth. Gain global exposure through shares or unit trusts on the FNB app. Tap into international investments and tax-efficient offshore trusts to build your legacy. Unlock invaluable with FNB Private. Help changes everything. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider. FNB International Trustees, FNB IT registration number 3080. Licensed by the Guernsey Financial Services Commission to conduct fiduciary business. T's and C's apply.
Unlock exciting bonus prizes when you top up your Betway account with a Betway Bucks voucher. From millions in cash and bonuses to extra bets and so much more, every top up is a chance to score big. Head over to leading retailers, including Pick n Pay, Checkers, Pep Stores, and Incredible Connection, and top up with Betway today. Terms and conditions apply. Betway is licensed and regulated by the Western Cape Gambling and Racing Board. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. South African Responsible Gambling Program toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710. Winners know when to stop.
Akwele.
Akwele.
Akweli.
Akwela.
Akwele.
Akwili.
Akwele.
No matter how you say it, one thing's for sure. Akwele is South Africa's most loved water brand, refreshing you with pure natural spring water and delicious flavored sparkling drinks. From every sip to every smile, thank you Mzansi for making Akwele a part of your everyday moments. Akwele, spreading joy to South Africa naturally.
702 and Corporates That Care with Bata are talking about Bata Children's Program.
We've run school donations, volunteer days. We have about 82 people in our head office in KZN. They frequently go down to the Malvern Children's Home. The Malvern Children's Home is a home for orphans that we've adopted basically in the KZN region. We've assisted them with jungle gyms, water tanks, stationary libraries. We've built a library for them, as mentioned. Unfortunately, the Malvern's Children's Home has a R1 million debt, water and electricity debt.
Sure.
So we've created a GoFundMe page, and a portion of the proceeds from our Mandela Day shoe sales will go towards this cause. So when corporates choose Toughies for their Mandela Day giving, they're not just buying the school shoes, they're helping children keep their home running.
From jungle gyms to school supplies and life-changing donations, Bata is building brighter futures. Visit bata.co.za to learn more. 702. Let's walk the talk. Your voice.
Your life.
Your afternoon radio.
On 702 Afternoons.
With Relebogile Mabotja.
20 minutes after 1 o'clock, and we're talking about anything and everything that you appreciate about living in South Africa, this troubled but wonderful country of ours. And I'm still of those people who say I would never live anywhere else. I'm happy to travel and have some fun abroad, but I definitely wouldn't live anywhere else. 011-883-0702, the WhatsApp line 072-702 and 702. Steve in Santon, hi.
Hi, good day to you. Yeah.
Yes.
What I just love about our country is just the wonderful, warm people that are just happy and smiling and just kind of going around their life with all their difficulties, whatever. But generally, they greet each other with such warmth and happiness and joy. And if you respond as well, they just like almost jump out of their shoes if you give them the basic greetings and Dumelama, Lekai.
Yes.
Respond to them, you say, and they just like, whoa, they call their friends, come listen to this, come. Oh, what a wonderful country we live in.
I
Despite all
absolutely
its
love
problems,
it.
It's still a wonderful place to be, and I wouldn't ever go and live anywhere else.
And Tate Steve, ke lebogela Sesotho sa gago ntate.
Ke bua kgole ma.
How man, wait king, o rute ba bang.
Ke mogata.
Ao, ke go bitsa Steve Ovo ne.
Yeah, Steve Ovo. Yeah.
Steve Ovo Wakasenton, thank you so much for your call. Sean in Relebogile, hi.
Hi, Relebogile. Yeah, you know, I love Gauteng. A lot of family in Cape Town. We've moved there, and I wouldn't go there if you paid me per month to live in Cape Town.
Why?
That weather. I went there on holiday and I said, never again.
But remember, Cape Town is the Europe of South Africa.
I don't care if it's the blooming Eiffel Tower or whatever. Cape Town's not my scene. I'll stay in Gauteng. I think Gauteng is much prettier than Cape Town. And
Yes.
I'm not on anything. The house I've done is still in Gauteng. You cannot compete with anywhere in the world. They are beautiful. That smell on the wet tar paving. It's just something. And the people in this province are so kind and loving.
Oh, okay. I hear you. Listen, support you on the weather. There are vibes about Cape Town I like. And for me, being an ocean person,
I also am, but it's too cold to swim there.
No, way too cold. It's a view. You go there for the view, not to get in. Thank you so much, Sean in Relebogile. Go the East Rand. Hi.
Yes, hi, Relebogile. How are you?
Good, thanks, and you?
Yes, thank you, and welcome back.
Thank you.
Yes, I just want to say, I experienced exactly what you went through, right, when I was in Germany. Obviously, the Germans are not known to be the friendliest people on earth, but basically, when I was there, it just really made me realize how fortunate we are in South Africa, where you can walk in the streets and you can hear people laughing and chatting and, just you have that energy and that vibe just in the streets, just walking around. But when you're there, it's like, I don't know if it's because people are miserable or what, but you don't get as much of it. People smiling, you don't get people like being friendly, you don't get people laughing, you don't. So I asked even this other guy who was giving me a lift back to the airport, and I said, what is it about Munich? Why are people so like, they're not friendly, they're down. And he's like, everybody's here, they're chasing the life, and yeah, they just have that pressure where, and I'm like, that's when it made me realize I'm so thankful to be in South Africa, because South Africans are very happy, very friendly, cordial people, and that's just something that you don't find anywhere else in the world.
Okay, so it's because they're cold. And Munich also has all the historical sites with the concentration camps and things. So,
I think you are right. Maybe the terrible weather adds a lot to it, But it just made me be so thankful about South Africa to say, what, we can travel and go overseas, but I'm always so glad to be back home.
I feel you.
Yeah.
And I think if you do get an opportunity, Berlin would probably be more up your alley than like a Munich.
Oh, okay. No, definitely. I'll try it out. Because I enjoyed the transport system and how efficient it was, right?
Yes.
That whole S-Bahn, I enjoyed that, getting around that and how the trains run on time and stuff. So they have good things about their city. But I just found that, we have our problems here at home. But joy and happiness and just friendliness is something that South Africans exude. So,
Ma'am, Rebecca vibe. Like,
I know
for us, we want a vibe more than we want a transport system that's on time. Thank you so much, Koketo from the East Rand. Your voice notes are coming through on 072 702 1702.
Girl, welcome back, girl. How was Paris? This is Talam coming to you live from Tafelkop in Limpopo. Tango!
Hi, Relebogile. I went to New York 2023 and I was so disappointed. And that is when I learned to appreciate South Africa. We have the best food. The quality of life is the best. We have the best weather. Even the cost of living. In South Africa, with 1,000 rand, you can survive. You can't do that. And our housing, the rent is very affordable. So yeah, I appreciate South Africa. We have our own problems. I would rather stay here. I won't leave South Africa ever. We have the best here. Even though we have our own problems, but I think I'd rather be here than anywhere else. What I liked that worked for me, it's just the transport system. The other things, and the crime is not that bad, but other things, no, I'm not leaving South Africa.
We go to the lines. Thokozani in Tsakane. Hi, Thokozani.
Hello, Relebogile. The thing I love is like I was born in Mpumalanga, ne? So the weather I knew the in and out. So I moved to Gauteng, and then when I was in Gauteng, I had to go and work in Durban for a month, and I just love visiting Cape Town. So all those varieties in the country, the holiday season. Holidaying and meeting all the people from all over the show. And if you are in the lodges or in the hotels, you get to meet different people also. So it's just a beautiful country. Actually, as you were saying, Cape Town is the Europe of South Africa. When you're in Cape Town, it's like you're in a different country. So if you want to go outside of South Africa, you go to Cape Town just to experience a different country. So the people and the weather and the lodges, beautiful. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Thokozani in Tsakane. More of your voice notes on 072 702 1702.
Hi, Relebogile. Just on a cheeky one here. I hope you didn't have any encounter with the bedbugs. I remember, was it with the Olympics? People are being warned about bedbugs in France. Yeah. Jimmy Midran.
Hi, Relebogile. Nani here. Lovely show. Wouldn't trade this country in for any other place in the world. It remains a special place because of us as a people. I only have one slight gripe, though, a spanner in the works, which I know will ruffle feathers. Why do we remain one of the very few places in the world where the minority refuses to learn and speak the language of the majority? It's been 400 years. When is it going to happen?
I agree about Cape Town. It's a wonderful place. But really, Cape Town's only got the mountain and the sea. And what would Cape Town be without the sea? Ape Town.
Greetings. What I like about being in South Africa is if you break down with your vehicle or you need to change a tire, even although you probably are able to do so, you will have somebody stop for you. And 9 out of 10 times, it's an African person who will insist on changing their tire for you and will not accept payment under any circumstances. So as a white woman, I appreciate that. That's really kindness and paying it forward.
What were you saying about the Cape Town without the sea? No, I didn't say that, Chief. I said I love the ocean. I never said it would be nothing without a mountain and an ocean. How ninja nina. Come on. But I just wanted to emphasize that part. Okay, one person says, afternoon Lebo and marvelous team. The best part of France is that I like is the south of France. However, I'm not sure why we keep chasing our colonizers. We want to be where they're at. I think when I come back, I'm going to do all the 53 states of Africa. So far, I have done 5. There's really nothing fascinating about Europe except for the northern lights. Look, I don't agree with that. It also depends on what kind of experiences you are chasing. It does make it tricky traveling to certain places on our continent. where you want to have similar comfort levels, because it can be extremely expensive, but that's a supply and demand thing. Maybe a conversation we can have in one of our travel feature episodes. Paula says, every time I return from an overseas trip, I'm so grateful for South Africans. We generally are much more friendly. I love South Africa. And thank you so much for that one. And another person, I disagree with the estimation about the French. Having been there several times, I noticed that if I start out speaking even a little bit of French, they were more than willing to speak English to me. In South Africa, my husband always tries to speak to people in their language, even if it is a few phrases. When we are in shops and restaurants, he definitely gets treated much better, while I am largely ignored because I am saying nothing. Karabu, you have something to say?
How much did you make in the streets of Paris?
I made
Are you serious?
Wait. What I made is priceless.
Yeah, fair enough.
I didn't make any euros, but I did overcome a fear, which was, you know, the fear of like that thing of dance like no one's watching, that thing.
I loved it.
And I had to remember that I'm no one in Paris.
Yes.
I'm completely anonymous. No one knows me.
Oh,
and
I loved it.
I love the fact that, but there were people that looked like South Africans, and the way I would test, I'd just be like, hey, I'm Fundini, and see if they turn around. None of them turned around.
I loved it. I love that video of yours. Unta a bucket head in our.
Wait. I need my soundtrack.
Okay.
I need my soundtrack when we come back from the news. It's just after 1:30, time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. I've got catching up to do. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. FlySafair has proposed the establishment of a committee tasked with resolving pilots' grievances amid an ongoing wage dispute. Now, over the past 2 weeks, the airline has had to reschedule dozens of flights after its pilots went on strike, demanding a 10% increase, with the carrier only offering 5%. Now, in addition to the increased demands, pilots have also decried the airline's new rostering system and working conditions. FlySafair says it had put forward a sixth revised offer to union solidarity, which it has rejected. Let's turn to this. With NPA boss Shamila Batoy set to retire in January, DA spokesperson for Justice Glenys Breitenbach has described her tenure as disappointing. One of Batoy's main objectives when she took office in 2019 was to ensure the successful prosecution of individuals accused of state capture. But many of these cases have since been mishandled by the NPA. And the KwaZulu-Natal Human Settlements Department has set aside 650 million rands to rebuild 1,200 homes for flood victims in the province. Addressing the provincial legislature, Human Settlements MEC Siboniso Duma says the department's focus is aimed at acquiring safe and suitable land for human habitation. Duma says 108 sites have been identified in the north of Durban, and work on setting up installation for services of over 696 units has begun. Now, those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 2, or as it happens.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage, if you are leaving Germiston heading towards the Alex area, there's huge delays. This is on the N3 northbound between Van Buren and Modderfontein Road due to an earlier accident. So avoid that route at all costs if you are leaving Germiston heading towards Midrand. Rather, drive through the Sandton area. That's via the M1 northbound. There's also slow-moving traffic leaving the Joburg CBD. That's Main Reef Road between Anderson and Van Buren. There's also slow-moving traffic. That's due to faulty traffic lights in the Rand Park Ridge area. Approaching the intersection of Bears, Nordia and the N1 North. Traffic lights also not working in Bryanston at Winnie Mandela Drive and Sloan. If you come across any other traffic issues, please SMS us on 31702. We are also on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Shamila Batoy, as the current National Director of Public Prosecutions, she's due to retire in January. What will her legacy be? How will you look back on her tenure?
Well,
Come on, you can say it.
It's disappointing. She has tried very hard to change the internal culture of the National Prosecuting Authority, but it's not a one-woman job. It depends on her senior staff, and some of her senior staff are people like Andrew Chate.
Dennis Breitenbach.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
To every 702 lander who laced up, showed up, and walked the talk with us this past Sunday, thank you. The 702 family loved every moment, walking, talking, and connecting with you on the route. You made the 2025 702 Walk the Talk one for the books, and we can't wait to do it all again with you next year. Here's to you, Joburg. Here's to us, 702 Landers. And here's to the 2025 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
We plan for vacations, retirement, and even tonight's dinner. But do we plan for our health? It's how we protect our family's future. So who are you staying healthy for? And how can you protect their future? Choose Dis-Chem Life, the life cover that helps you live a healthier, more rewarding life with health checks and extra rewards. Visit dischemlife.co.za now. Dis-Chem Life. Choose a better partner for life. Dis-Chem Life is an authorized FSP 50594, underwritten by Guard Risk Life, a licensed life insurer, FSP 76. T's and C's apply.
Celebrate the horse racing season of champions with Hollywood bets and saddle up for sensational success. Stand a chance to win a spectacular share of over 2 million rand in prizes, including a brand new Amoda C5 or C7. All you have to do is bet 50 rand or more on any horse racing event for a shot at your crowning moment. Take the reins and get ready to gallop to grand rewards. Bet now.
T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. Hollywood Bet supports responsible gambling. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp HELP to 076 675 0710.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult day 3731. I'm really struggling to explain my parents to my therapist. Might send him to live with them so he can see for himself. What if he ends up in therapy too? Wait, what if they love him more than me?
Finally learning about mental health. Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's convenient and like 19 Rand a day, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Spend your afternoon
With Relebogile Mabotja.
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
23 minutes to 2 o'clock. We're going to quickly go to the lines and then head over to movies and what to stream with Phil Mpela. Make sure you send through your recommendations through series, movies, old or new. Tembi in Benoni, how are you?
Hello,
This is what another thing I love about South Africa. We give each other nicknames. This are failing.
Hey, I said you made me proud in Paris. You made me proud because I was cheering you on my phone. That's my girl. That is my girl.
Babes.
I was there. They were going to arrest us. Because what? Social anxiety was scared that day.
And I have to be honest, I had to be reminded. My younger brother kept saying to me, listen, don't forget you're anonymous here. No one knows who you are. So, part of your list of before turning 40 is ticking a list of things you've never done, getting out of your comfort zone. So I'm glad you feel proud. I'm so happy you do.
Oh, babes, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much, Tembi. Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. So for those of you that didn't see, yes, I just was enjoying myself in Paris to this iconic song. Yo, Kwaito lovers, this is for you. Hi, bo! I man, Kwaito is our genre. Taking it worldwide. Thank you so much for all your calls and your engagements. Let's keep loving our country, guys. I promise you there is no place like home.
702. Movies.
Movies and what to stream. Today we're together with Phil Mpela, entertainment commentator as well as a TV and online host. Your recommendations 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Phil, happy Monday. How are you?
I'm good. Bonjour.
Bonjour, Phil. Ça va, Phil?
Beyond that, my French ends with that, just that. Or comment ça va. That's the only two that I know.
Je suis très bien. Très bien.
Oh, hallelujah.
I have to tell you, Phil, that I saw two cinemas that I was like, if I have time, I want to go in and try and watch a French movie, like no subtitles, and then afterwards to go and read what it was about to see how much I can get through. But I did not have the time, so it's something that I definitely have to do at some point. And I had to tell you, I managed to watch Beekeeper on the flight and Elvis. That's on. Oh my goodness, Elvis, with Tom Hanks, guys, watch Elvis. It is so good, especially if there are certain things you did not know about this man's activism. I have a newfound love for Elvis Presley, and wow is what I can say, Phil.
Yeah, no, I understand. I mean, that's what I love about films and television and storytelling, is that you get to rediscover new things about people, about stories that you thought you knew, and our history as well. So yeah, I'm happy that you enjoy that.
All right, so what are we starting off with?
Okay, cool. So let me start with a disclaimer, right? So our regular listeners will sometimes be on some, but hi, I feel like we've heard you guys talk about that before. But here's the thing, guys, we're catering for you, and sometimes not everybody has Showmax and DSTV at the same time, or Netflix at the same time. And with Showmax and DSTV, there are certain shows that would be on DSTV and then only later be on Showmax, or the other way around. So sometimes when you hear us mentioning a show, again, it's because it's moved to a different platform. So now that we've got that out of the way, our number one is the ABC Killer. So if anybody says the name Moses Sithole, if you were born in the 90s, you're probably not going to know, but if you're born in the 80s, you were a teenager in the 90s, you would know who Moses Sithole is. Anybody who's older than that would also know who Moses Sithole is. He's a guy who was convicted of 38 murders, 40 rapes, and 6 robberies in 1994. So it was a span of a year when he committed this crime. So there's a documentary right now that is out on Showmax that is covering the story around that. But the documentary is centered around the journalist, I think her name is Tamsin de Beer, who was the person who first got the phone call from Moses Sithole himself confessing to all his crimes. So fascinating documentary, a local documentary. It's 3 episodes that are now available on Showmax. You can go check them out. If you're wondering, Moses Sithole is still in prison as far as I know, and I think he's serving over 2,000 years or something like that.
And I think that's definitely one to look out for. So that's one we'll check out on Showmax. Also on Showmax, Code 13.
Yeah, Code 13 is a series, a local drama series that came out last year in April. It came out on Zantsi Magic. I think it was on Sundays. Yeah, but now it's on Showmax. So all the episodes that were aired on Zantsi Magic, you can now watch it all in one go if you've got the time on Showmax. So Code 13 is it's set in the gritty side of Johannesburg, and it's centered around this no-nonsense detective with a knack for connecting dots and, solving these complex crimes. So if you're into those kind of series, you'll thoroughly enjoy it. Now, a bit of tidbit on that is that just last week, the lead actor, Uzelisa Koluva, actually won 350,000 rand judgment over a dispute that was centered around his unpaid salary for doing this very show. I think that was against Riti Studios. So if you have seen that story and you're wondering what show is that show is the one that we're talking about right now, and it's called Code 13. It's available right now on Showmax. You can go check out all the episodes there.
That is so interesting that it actually ended up needing to, like, usually the court process is a threat, but it's easier and cheaper to just now pay and settle.
I know. Yeah, it shouldn't have happened. I've been wondering myself, but why did they allow it to get to that point? But you'll never know. Maybe there were other mitigating factors and all of that, so we don't know. But we are happy that it's now solved and everybody's happy, hopefully. And we can have our talented, crew and actors back doing what they do best.
Okay, perfect. Then also on Showmax, you've got Matlock.
Yes, Matlock, one of my favorite series that came out last year. Matlock. Now, I'm going to be very biased on this. I'm a huge Katie Bates fan. Misery, I think it was 1992 or 1991 now. film Misery with her and James Caan is one of my favorite films of all time. Love her. Well, she's back with a series called Matlock. So now this series is not actually based on the old series that was called Matlock. It's actually like the lead character that she plays is a fan of the series. It's not like this is the remake of the series or anything like that. So I remember when it came out, some people were confused about, well, is it the remake? Is it what? Yeah, it's not that. It's a totally different show. It's just that the character is a huge fan of Matlock. So the story of this is that an older lady who used to be a lawyer decides to come back into the profession and work for this firm, but because there's a reason for it. I can't say what the reason is. You have to go watch and see why she's going back to that firm. But yeah, so she gets there and, her quirkiness and whatever ends up helping this law firm solve a lot of cases. So basically it's one of those things that, older people are overlooked, and in them being overlooked, they can actually get into spaces that we young people can't get into because we are always putting our business out there. So yeah, so it's got that kind of element to it. So it's available, season 1. It has got 19 episodes. So that's going to take you a while. So start on a Friday and on a Sunday.
I cannot wait to get into it because I saw the trailer already. Kathy Bates, being Kathy Bates, catches you right at the beginning. And then you're like, I think I saw a hint of the twist in the extended trailer. And I was like, nah, man, this one, it's like a long weekend where you sit and binge.
Yeah. No, I loved it. So yeah, our final one, it's a series called Dexter Origin. Now, I'm not a fan of these reboots and prequels and what. That's just a film thing. That's just a film pillar thing. I know a lot of people enjoy them. I just don't. So I'm gonna have to go watch this one with our listeners because I'm a bit apprehensive. But hey, let's go watch it and then we'll talk about it, right? It's called Dexter Original Sin. So this is the prequel to the series Dexter that everybody probably knows. That it ran from 2006 to 2013 and it ran for 8 seasons. And it started that guy Michael C. Hall, who was what's that series with the funerals? About the funeral. Okay, that one.
Oh, 6 feet under. 6
feet under, yes. Yeah, so this is a prequel to that series that Michael C. Hall from 6 Feet Under was on for 8 seasons. Beautiful show. But this time around, Patrick Gibson plays the younger Dexter Morgan. So you get to know him as he transitions into being this serial killer. So beautiful story. I haven't seen it, so I can't say much about it. I'm going to be watching it with you guys. So hopefully I'll love it and come back here and, gloat about it. So it starts on the 29th of July, which is tomorrow, I believe, and at 9 p.m. on Mnet. So you can check it out tomorrow. They'll be dropping the first episode on Mnet at 9 p.m. right on DSTV.
I'll be honest, I don't think I would tune in for Dexter because I was such a fan. I was like devastated at the end of Dexter. And now all these remakes and side what. It takes a lot for me to be like, it's like I absolutely loved Lord of the Rings and then The Hobbit came 10 minutes in. I was like, nope, can't do it. Yeah. And then moved on.
And you can't help but compare as well. I mean, you can't help but compare the oldies and the new. And it's not fair. And I know it's not fair, but we are human beings. We will compare the two. That's why I'd rather just not get involved and just, stay in my nostalgia and enjoy them as they were. And the new kids will enjoy the new content.
All right, Phil, where are we finding you on the socials?
I am on Twitter now called X at Mpela. I'm on TikTok, it's Kopolo_Mpela, and sometimes I'm on Instagram, but hey, Kopolo Mpela is where you can find on Instagram.
And then recommendations coming from the listeners. One says Untamed on Netflix. It's a series worth watching. Another one says Amy Bradley is Missing. It's a documentary on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
Another one says a must-watch Snowfall, The Act, The PJs by Eddie Murphy, South Park, all the seasons, and the follow-up from the Boondocks, the cartoons, which is Black Dynamite. Yo, what a list. I'm going to send them to you, Phil, and we see what we add to our own personal lists.
At the heart of global conversations shaping our future, Africa's voice is more important than ever. As proud lead sponsor of the B20, the Standard Bank Group is honored to showcase the continent's growth, partnerships, and potential on the world stage. Because driving Africa's growth isn't just our ambition, it's our purpose. Tune in every Monday from 3 p.m. for the Standard Bank B20 In Brief for key insights and updates around the B20. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Looking for your next car? We Buy Cars makes it easy with over 10,000 vehicles available for sale. Whether it's your season to upgrade or downgrade your vehicle, We Buy Cars has what you need. With over 10,000 vehicles for sale, you'll find a variety of cars, bakkies, bikes, boats, trucks, and more sold at incredible prices. We Buy Cars also offers convenient finance solutions through South Africa's most trusted banks, which you can easily apply for online or in-store. Plus, they have insurance solutions, warranties, service plans, and more, providing everything you need under one roof. Whether you're trading in or simply selling a vehicle, get an estimated offer within minutes online or at any We Buy Cars location nationwide. The entire process is quick and seamless. You can even sell within a day and get paid on the spot. When you're buying or selling, We Buy Cars offers a fast, simple and reliable process. So visit webuycars.co.za today.
PG Glass Repair, PG Glass Replace.
Hi, I'm Telane, PG Glass Technician. Got a chip on your windscreen? No worries. Our advanced repair technology fixes it with precision. If you don't have insurance, we offer affordable cash deals on high-quality windscreen replacements to keep you safe.
We can also help you claim from your insurance. Plus, you get a lifetime workmanship guarantee. As the natural choice to fix your glass problems, we're the best at what we do. For quality you can trust, call 0860 030303 today.
702.
Travel.
10 minutes to 2 o'clock. Our travel feature for today, we have my dear colleague, former producer till he broke up with me for John Coleman, Jonathan Kabazela Fairburn. How are you doing, Jono?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Welcome
I'm so
back.
excited. Yes, you're going to talk about the Mauritius experience.
Yeah, gee.
You make me want to go back.
Take me back.
So you were there how long ago?
So I was there the beginning of July. So I was there for 5 nights in total.
Yes.
And it was absolutely fantastic. I mean, I hadn't been to Mauritius in over 16 years.
So it wasn't your first time?
No, it wasn't my first time. My first time I went there on honeymoon.
Ooh.
And now 16 years later, divorced with my fiancée. So it was a completely different experience, and it was really great.
Also, you have grown people money when you're older. Because I was looking at like the fact that when I was, I've never been to Mauritius, but you go there with now grown people money, also known as swiping your credit card and hoping for the best.
Yes,
when you
and
get
then
back
coming
home.
back and thinking, oh my goodness, did I swipe that many times?
You just say, I will see how it all goes. All right, so let's kick off with just give us some background of like why did you choose that place? Because many people, when they get the option to travel, they try not to repeat destinations.
Yeah, so I was invited. I'd spoken about a bucket list thing of mine to play golf in Mauritius at this beautiful course called Ilar Surfs. It's on an island, on its own little island. They built this golf course. You have to go to it via a little boat, which is an experience as it is. There's really kind of no other golf course like it. So that was the hook. And then Mauritius Tourism invited me over and said, come explore.
How amazing!
Come explore the island. So I was very, very fortunate, I must say, to go and explore that. And I went to 2 different resorts, which gave a little bit of a different feel of what the island has. So the first resort I went to was Lejadi Beach Resort and Wellness Mauritius. Now, if you are looking for a place to go and unwind, as soon as you walk into the place, you just... You feel it ease, you feel calm, and all your troubles go away. This is a very, very nice resort to go to. That's right on the beach. Then they've got a beautiful spa facility there, which you can go into and relax. And some of the units there, I think out of 56, 36 of the units have private pools on their balconies. I didn't have a private pool.
I was
very
about
jealous,
to say,
I must
Mr.
say.
Fancy Pants.
Yeah, very jealous. But if you can, go get one of those private pools in one of those suites. Really, really nice. So I mean, that's a kind of place where you want to go to and you just want to relax and chill. There's no like vibe in terms of a pub and all that kind of stuff there. Multiple restaurants that you can go to for your dinners and your lunches and all that kind of stuff, and a really nice vibe at the pool with a nice beach, a nice pool bar, which is really, really cool. Sitting on the, like a little concrete chair, sipping on a cocktail whilst your feet are in the pool. Really, really nice.
Please let everybody know how warm the water actually is, because I think people think I'm exaggerating when I say it's like bath water warm.
Well, the funny thing is it was winter when we went. And they said, no, that's winter. I laughed at them. Winter? Aha, please, this is not winter. We experience winter. So at that time of the year now in July, it's winter, but it's really, really nice weather, I must say. Not too hot and humid. So it's a great time to go, especially because the kids are on school holidays.
Yes.
Then we went to another place called Long Beach, Mauritius. Long Beach is exactly what the name is. The beach at Long Beach is absolutely, it goes for miles, white sand and blue waters. And this place, I must say, was fantastic. It has multiple restaurants. It's got a bar that you can go sit in at night. It's got entertainment. It's got stuff to look after the kids. Multiple, kind of water sports activities that you can do. So really, really fantastic stuff. But
I'm busy looking at images of all the places you went to, and I'm like, sir, what life are you living?
I can't look at them anymore.
No, because
I had to go there on Kabazela budget. Yo.
No, it's insanely beautiful.
Yeah.
It's insanely beautiful.
But then, the other thing is a lot of people think, or I always used to think that you just go there and it's just sun, sea and all that kind of stuff. I went on this tour in Port Louis. If you get a chance, really do it. They booked it through a guy called Taste Buddies. And now what he does is he takes you on this guided tour. You learn about the history of Mauritius, which is fascinating, absolutely fascinating, with the French, the Chinese, the Indian influence, all that kind of stuff. And you go to all these little spots in the city where you would never go because you wouldn't know how to find these things. And you go and eat the delicacies and the specific food to the Mauritian culture, which was really, really lovely to do. And then there's two other things. So I spoke about golf, absolutely fantastic golf. If you want to go on a golf trip with the mates or you want to go just with your partner, she can go to the day spa, you can go play golf. Get on a catamaran. I never went on a catamaran. I had the chance when I was there, first time, and I was like, a catamaran, boring. It was fantastic. 8 hours you're on this catamaran. Mauritian coffee, a.k.a. rum and coke, flows like no idea.
Yes.
I mean, you got to be careful. That Mauritian coffee at the end of the day.
It creeps up on you.
It does. Before you know it, hits you. Boom. Then they make you a beautiful lunch and they take you to these waterfalls. Now, this is fresh water that is falling into the ocean. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to see and to witness. And then you go to a island called Île Surfs, where the golf course is. You can go chill on that beach for the day. There's a fully stocked bar there. You can go and have cocktails. You can do what you want. Parasailing. We went parasailing as well. Yeah, that was lekker. Me and the missus on a double one. It was a lot of fun. So all in all, Mauritius for me is basically a short haul destination with long haul benefits. I mean, it's 3 hours 40 by plane.
Right.
It's like around the corner, right?
And I think there's daily flights?
So there's daily flights, and that's a good thing. So make sure if you're going to go, try and get the early morning flight so that you get there and you still got much of the day. Because if you get the later flight or the afternoon flight, because of the time difference, you end up getting to the island around about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night.
Because you do need to sort of go from the airport and still do a drive.
Yes.
So you are right. Those ones where you land in the morning are the best, or else you just have a lost travel day.
Yes. And then one other tip that I would say is, if you're going to go and you pick a resort that you want to stay at, and so you're not going to go venture out anywhere, go all-inclusive. Don't make the mistake of going half-board, which is your breakfast and your dinners, and then everything else in between, drinks and all that you got to pay. Go fully inclusive.
So that you can drink from the morning until the night.
And that adult money budget you spoke about will thank you.
Listen, I am telling you. So I'm not going to ask you if you'd go back because I know for a fact you would.
Yeah, can I go tomorrow?
Yes, you can.
Can I go to negative leave?
But also I would say to everybody, and I'm sure you can reiterate this, much as Mauritius is very much a honeymoon promoted destination. I went there solocation. It was phenomenal. Beautiful. You went, honeymoon and romance / golfing, but you can see that you can do it lots of different ways.
You can. You know what was so nice? I'll tell you a quick story at Long Beach. We saw this bride and groom. They had obviously just got married, and I thought, where's all their friends? There's their chummies. Nobody around them, just themselves. So they eloped to Mauritius to go get married, and then they disappeared. We sitting in the bar, and they come back. Everybody in this bar stood up, clapped for them. It's like complete strangers.
You guys were
all
now the
became
wedding
friends
party.
with them for their night. So it was so nice. She did a bouquet throw with all these strangers. It was such a great experience to see.
Did you catch the bouquet?
I said to my missus, just go for fun, go. She didn't. Some 22-year-old was like, get out of my way, I'm getting it.
She didn't need to catch the bouquet because you did the things, John.
Exactly.
No. Thank you so much for coming through in our travel feature.
Medical aid plans, they're normally like this.
So, you'll need to take this form and this. So don't forget this too. Okay, wait. Don't forget this one. Wait. Okay, done. My back! Sorry, sir. That's gonna have to come out of your savings.
At Bonitas, we make our plans simple, so they're easy to understand. We also offer a benefit booster and a range of other benefits that don't come off your savings. Visit bonitas.co.za when you need us. Bonitas, medical aid for South Africa. T's and C's apply.
Breaking news. SARS has enhanced the personal income tax return form. It has simpler questions that adapt to your income and deductions based on your answers. Whether you're employed or self-employed, the digital form has built-in guidance and the option to save and finish later. Tax matters, so does your time. File with ease on e-filing or the SARS Mobi app today. Go to sars.gov.za. SARS, at your service.
The Johannesburg Philharmonic Orchestra's early spring season features a stellar lineup of international and local talent. Enjoy favorites by Mozart, Beethoven and Tchaikovsky. Concerts run at the Linda Auditorium on Thursday evenings from 7 to 28 August. Book at Quicket. Visit jpo.co.za for more info.
This is EWN.
Good afternoon, I'm Monki Zikoko. Fly Safe has proposed the establishment of a committee tasked with resolving pilots' grievances amid an ongoing wage dispute. Over the past 2 weeks, the airline has had to reschedule dozens of flights after its pilots went on strike demanding a 10% increase, with the carrier only offering 5%. In addition to the increased demands, pilots have also decried the airline's new rostering system and working conditions. Fly Safe says it had put forward a sixth revised offer to Union Solidarity, which it has since rejected. Chief Marketing Officer Kirby Gordon says the ball is in the pilots' court.
What we had proposed to them is the establishment of a committee that would then be able to evaluate whatever roster rules the pilots wanted to review. Ones on the table at the moment are things like a weekend off every so many weeks, or whether or not you get single days off or only ever 2 days in a row, etc., etc. So we wanted to put the power into the hands of the pilots to say, you guys can evaluate, determine, and test all of these different rules.
Let's turn to this. President Cyril Ramaphosa has rejected claims that the recommendations made by the State Capture Commission have been swept under the carpet. The National Prosecuting Authority has come under scrutiny lately, with questions raised about its handling of state capture-related cases. While the president admits there are challenges within the institution, he maintains that action is being taken against individuals implicated in the looting of the state funds. Presidency spokesperson Vincent Magwenya says there have been consistent signs of progress.
Government has recovered nearly 11 billion rands in stolen public funds, strengthened our law enforcement capacity, and implemented comprehensive reforms across government.
Last week, former Chief Justice Raymond Zondo stressed the need for adequate resources to hold the corrupt accountable. But Magwenya insists this is already underway.
However, this work is far from complete. President Ramaphosa remains committed to the full implementation of the State Capture Commission's recommendations and to rebuilding public trust in our institutions.
Meanwhile, DA spokesperson for Justice Glenys Breitenbach has described MPA boss Shamila Batoy's tenure as disappointing. One of Batoy's main objectives when she took office in 2019 was to ensure the successful prosecution of individuals accused of state capture. Alfara Mashana reports.
Some of the state capture-related cases the NPA has mishandled include those involving Ace Mahashule's former personal assistant Murwadi Cholota and ex-Eskom executive Matsela Koko. DA Justice spokesperson Glenys Breitenbach says she had higher expectations for NPA boss Shamila Batoy.
It's disappointing. She has tried very hard to change the internal culture of the National Prosecuting Authority, but it's not a one-woman job. It depends on her senior staff, and some of her senior staff are people like Andrew Chate.
Batoy has, however, been vocal about some of the challenges facing the NPA. 2 years ago, she urged the president to act against Gauteng Director for Public Prosecutions Andrew Chauke, who was accused of enabling state capture. But it was only last week that the president suspended Chauke, citing concerns over his fitness for office. Most recently, Chauke dropped the fraud and corruption charges against former ANC spokesperson Zizi Kodwa, which were also linked to state capture. Alpha Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
The KwaZulu-Natal Human Settlements Department has set aside 650 million rands to rebuild 1,200 homes for flood victims in the province. Addressing the provincial legislature, Human Settlements MEC Siboniso Duma says the department's focus is aimed at acquiring safe and suitable land for human habitation. He says 108 sites have been identified in the north of Durban, and work on setting the installation of services for 696 units has begun. Duma added that the department targets to complete more than 800 houses by December of 2026.
We're moving with speed to ensure the building of 1,200 houses in Konopia. Why we always emphatic on the issue of Etegwini, it is only metro, and 70% of informal settlement is found at Etegwini, as because of urbanization. Unfortunately, they've also suffered severely on the flood disaster that took place in the year 2022 along other municipalities.
And in Thailand, Bangkok police are investigating a mass shooting at a food market. It is understood a gunman opened fire at the market, killing 4 security guards and a 5th victim who worked there. Local media is reporting the suspect, who has now taken his own life, had prior disputes with the market's security guards. Police say the shooting incident is unrelated to Thailand's ongoing conflict with Cambodia. Gold is trading at $3,336.72 an ounce. The rand is at 17.85 to the dollar, 23.96 to the pound, 20.80 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $69.27 a barrel.
Well, at this stage, if you are leaving Brakpan heading towards Benoni, there's slow-moving traffic on Rangeview Road between Dube Street and Tom Jones. Also traveling through Sandton, heading towards the Midrand area. Traffic is a bit sluggish. M1 northbound. This is between Ethel Oaklands and Grayston Drive, and look out for those faulty traffic lights in Alex at Marlborough Drive and Far East Bank.
A partly cloudy day in Gauteng. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 15 and 18 degrees. Now, the top story in EWN this hour, Fly Safe has proposed the establishment of a committee tasked with resolving pilots' grievances amid ongoing wage disputes.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
Seven minutes after 2 o'clock, the second and final hour of 7:02 afternoons with me, Relebogile Mabotja, and we jump straight into it. Our parenting and parents feature. We're picking up that conversation around the friendship your child has that you find possibly annoying or unbearable, and we'll touch on some of the stories you had shared. But this time we have an expert joining us, Ayanda Tetiana, who is a parenting coach and author of My Kid Failed, Now What? Then we wrap up note with Dr. Chris Smith, but we are talking about the importance of organ donation on this World Hepatitis Day, and we'll be joined by some leading transplant surgeons and a hepatologist that will be coming through to chat to us in that conversation. So give us a call, 011 883 0702. SMS us 31702, tweet at Relebogile M, at Radio 702 using the hashtag 702 afternoons, and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Parenting and Parents
on 702.
Parenting and Parents time. We did have a conversation last week, a week before last rather, when I was here around having your child having a friend, whatever age the child is, that you feel like this child should not be friends with my child. And many of you came through and shared your experiences, including a very tearful listener who spoke of having this friend that her parents did not want her to be friends with, so much so that she got a beating for it. Because the child was, as she described, a little bit more advanced for her age. She came from a wealthier family, but the community kind of encouraged their kids not to be friends with her. And she spoke about how heartbroken she was because that friend of hers opened her up to so many things, to so much in the world. So I want to hear from you on all your experiences and how now we're joined by an expert that can also help guide not just you as the child, but also as adults, as parents, how to deal with these type of situations without alienating your child. 011 883 0702, the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702. Ayanda Tetiana, thank you so much for joining us. Parenting coach and author of My Kid Failed Now. Welcome to the show, Ayanda.
Hi, Lulu. Thanks for having me.
So, Ayanda, just in terms of that being, I want to just kick off by it still being a valid feeling before we get to what a parent does about it. A parent feeling like, that child, that other child. And it can be as small as, your toddler's a friend visiting who just, insists on playing with breakable things in the house or jumping on the couch when that's not something you guys do in your home. But it could be something extreme where your child is now bunking out of school since having these new friends in their lives.
Yeah. So obviously it's very important to have friends and the peers, the attachments, the issues, in terms of just the development is very important for the children. The experience they get as they have a variety of friends as well is very important. But obviously as parents, we have a little bit of things that we tend to notice. It's very important that we know, depending on the child's age though, what exactly is it? Because sometimes we are a little bit paranoid, but the experiences are great for our children as they mix up with people who are different. If you look at your own individual self, you'll notice that you have a lot of friends who are more like you. So when your child is actually able to socialize and have a variety of friends who are different, it's actually a very good thing.
So we do recognize, though, and I mean, there are some who shared, some listeners who shared that, look, my parents were not happy with so-and-so friend and they turned out to be X, Y, and Z, as in validating the parents' fear. Now, at what point, or let me rather say, what is the measure you use as to what is an irrational fear and what is a rational fear when it comes to the kind of influence that your child has around them?
So I would say what exactly is the behavior that is probably bothering you? Is this particular child rude? Are they secretive? Are they wild? It could be a projection maybe. Sometimes they remind you of something that frustrated you. So you want to weigh those up, and depending on your child's age, you also want to have conversations about some of these things. Because the part of that development is being able to notice this particular thing that you may not like. Let's say, for instance, the example with the podcast from the last conversation around this, where, let's say, for instance, a child who smokes, right? Your child will always be exposed to children who are doing things that are different. But we still need to take those opportunities as a teaching moment where now you have your conversation with your child and say, okay, this thing happens, in terms of like your vaping, for instance, in your high school, and this is why we don't vape. You put an age to it and say you may have the option to do it at a certain age, or you're just not allowed to do it. And then continuously instill your own values. You'll never be able to raise your child in a little island or a glass house. They are going to be exposed to other children, and depending on their age, you can actually use this as a teaching opportunity.
And I think what you're sharing is actually so correct in the sense that one has to see it as a great opportunity for your child to be exposed to different kinds of people. I would even go as far as saying the sooner your child is exposed to what you might consider as negative influence, the sooner they're able to exercise the muscle they need to deal with such, because you have the other side where maybe the child has been completely sheltered. Now they're an 18, 19-year-old going to varsity and they have never had to deal with exercising certain parts of their brain because they were fully sheltered.
Exactly. And you don't want that. So when you're able to hold them through the different experiences that they're having day to day with their friends, then you're able to almost come in as a coach and just give them like tips. Say, okay, maybe handle that in this way. But once you're too strict, maybe in saying no, don't be friends with whomever, then they tend to also become very secretive and then they stop telling us things. So we have to there's a thin line in terms of, yes, this is what's really important to you, and depending on child's age, what do you actually tell them? Because imagine this is the one person who your child feels like they understand each other, they have, this really close relationship, and you're saying, cut that out. How you then have to sit down with the child and explain to them, listen, this is why this is important to me. And maybe if it is possible and this person is really important to your child, you can go as far as to reaching out to the parents and trying to find out. But usually, I think, especially when it comes to those teens, we have to give them the tools to figure it out for themselves, because as they grow, they are going to encounter a lot of different people. And it's just a useful skill to have in just navigating their social relationships.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we go to all of your questions on 011 883 0702 and the WhatsApp line 072 702 1702.
Africa Milani.
Weekday mornings,
4 to 6.
How far apart is Solidarity from its employer in those negotiations?
We were literally so close. That's why we were so extremely disappointed in the company. We thought we can sign the deal, over the weekend. Friday afternoon, we started negotiating at 2 o'clock, and we were making good progress. The next moment, the company packed up and said, no, they've got other things to do.
Gideon du Plessis is General Secretary of Solidarity. Sadly, that fly SFAir strike by the pilots who are members of Solidarity continues.
Africa Milani.
4 to 6 on 702.
If you want to know about the heart and art of jazz, look no further than the Standard Bank Joy of Jazz Festival, a grand ensemble of over 50 world-class acts across 4 stages for 3 whole days. That's right, from the 26th, 27th and 28th of September. The Sandton Convention Center will be demure and sophisticated as the fine Standard Bank Joy of Jazz 2025 takes you deep into the heart, the art and splendor of jazz. Take me there. Book your seat via Ticketmaster now.
Food Lovers Market is bringing you unbeatable deals this winter carnival. Save big on 1 7kg potato pocket and 1 3kg onion bag for 99 Rand per combo. Buy 3 1kg tomato thrift packs for 50 Rand. 5 creamy avocados for 50 Rand. And 3 200-gram white button mushroom punnets for just 50 Rand. Valid until 3 August. Only at Food Lovers Market. Winter carnival now on.
Hey besties, welcome to my kitchen tour, or should I say my new walk-in wardrobe. Over here we have the pantry, now home to my jeans and shirts, all color-coded. Oh, and the air fryer, literally the perfect place for my makeup brushes. And who would have thought, the oven is the place to store my handbags.
Who needs a kitchen? Simply spend 200 Rand or more and you could win Simply Asia for a year. T's and C's apply. Simply Asia, connecting the Thai way.
Dear Journal, trying to be an adult, day 3274. Every time I go to a fancy birthday dinner, I'm reminded I'm just 5 fancy birthday dinners away from financial ruin. Note to self, don't make any more born in June friends.
Recently removed from the family payroll. Get covered at pineapple.co.za. It's like 570 Rand a month, so it's 100% the insurance for you. Underwritten by Old Mutual Alternative Risk Transfer Insurer Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP. Premiums are risk profile dependent.
Looking for real ways to live greener? Then don't miss Green Tip of the Week, your weekly dose of sustainable inspiration. From eco-entrepreneurs to climate champions, we sit down with the people making real change. Catch Green Tip of the Week every Tuesday on Afternoon Drive with John Perlman from 3 to 6 p.m. Only on 702. Proudly brought to you by Volvo. It's safe to be brave with Volvo.
Parenting and Parents
on 702.
Parenting and Parents, and today we continue our conversation on the friendship your child has that is annoying or unbearable, and it may feel or even be rational or irrational? Feel free to share with us. 011-883-0702. The WhatsApp line 072-702-1702. We are having this conversation through the guidance of Ayanda Tetiana, who is a parenting coach and the author of My Kid Failed, Now What? Now, Ayanda, we had a few messages and questions that came through and some comments as well. So I want to go through them with you. The one says, hi 702, my son is 15. His friends tease him for having involved parents. He even asked us to stop posting pictures of our outings because they take screenshots and tease him at school. I mean, I'm just like, how are these your friends?
So obviously, when it comes to certain situations, some children will have jealousy and all these issues because of some of their issues that they have in terms of their families. So this may seem to be a bigger deal than it is, but I think it is very important that as parents, we're always listening to our children when they start giving us certain feedback. So if it means as parents, you want to move to something a little bit more private in terms of just what you're posting about your children, just to avoid that embarrassment, I think that's not really a bad idea.
I'm glad that you are saying, that it's the part of the listening and maybe just move it somewhere private, because at the end of the day, it might sound silly to us as the grown-ups, but to that child, it might be something that's huge that's happening in their lives.
Absolutely, because remember, we need to be responsive to our individual children's needs. Yes, we are as parents, we are proud that we're involved, we're able to be there through everything, but for whatever reason, in terms of their social groups, this is something that they get to laugh about. So you want to make it such that there's nothing there to laugh about. So, I mean, posting our children anyway in terms of social media, it tends to be a bit tricky. As they grow older, they don't want to give us the consent, and sometimes we must just listen to them, I think.
All right. Another message says, Relebogile, when we were growing up in the 80s in Soweto, wealthy parents' children were not allowed to play with us. Later, when they are older and after their parents have passed, only then they began to see the outside world and they would struggle to survive in it. That is from Simon. Interesting observation. Another one says, Relebogile, I empathize, but somehow parents know best, probably had more information and protected Anonymous from bad decisions. Look now, her friend is not educated, but her boring, poor life led to education. So just to give context, the friend that was the person that had called in extremely distraught and just said that this friend who came from a wealthier family, her life is not going well at the moment. She came from a poor background. She didn't even know the idea of you can have your own room or go to a restaurant if it weren't for this girl. So fast forward, I guess this person's saying they empathize with the parents because she's now having a hard time as this woman who called in to forgive her mother, who basically took away this close friend of hers from her.
Yeah. So that's touching on the perspective where just because you're now going to someone who has a completely different background, you may be able to learn, you may be able to be inspired. As parents, it's our responsibility to continuously have the conversations around values. We go through difficult times. We lose a lot. I think a lot of us experienced that during COVID, for instance, and then we work it all up, But being able to have those conversations, being able to share about those experiences, our own individual experiences, will actually help our children as they navigate through life to also realize that this is something that's possible. It happens. Everybody goes through the ups and downs, and it's just, it's part of life. And when we are not sheltered, that's when we get to see these things, so that when we get to the experiences, we can actually learn something from it.
Okay, another one says, Lebo, my son has this girl who is a friend to him, and they sing together. I don't like her simply because whenever he is from choir, he's so much updated on who's divorcing whose mom doesn't bath. I've told him many times that I don't even want her at my house. Unfortunately, they're 18 years of age. I don't have full control over their friendship. This is from Zandi in Midrand. What are your thoughts on that, Ayanda?
I'd want to ask the child how do they feel about this do they enjoy this gossip? Do they feel uncomfortable with this friend in terms of them sharing all these things? And I would say don't ban that friendship. Just allow, and use some of those opportunities as well as a learning opportunity to say, okay, so you heard 1, 2, 3. Do you know what does that mean? Let's say, for instance, they're talking about divorce. They're talking about, use that as a platform to just expand his knowledge, his curiosity, have him read up about different things. Because the reality is, even if you remove this one friend, 2 years down the line, there's another friend. And then what happens there? Are you going to remove that as well? My issue is then your child then realizes that, and then they start being secretive and stop telling you things.
I'm actually wondering, are there sometimes parents who thinks Bani is a bad influence, not knowing that their child might be the one that is influencing the situation?
I'm willing to bet you that in most instances we think our kids are angels.
Yep.
And so I think that one is like really important. I always talk about character in terms of just when we have our children look at people in terms of their friendship, some of our own friendships, when we talk about them, talk about our Auntie Mang Mang being really loyal, being very supportive, so that our children can have this emotional vocabulary, so that when they are looking at their own friends, they can start looking at that. And then now you can ask them as a parent, in terms of this friendship, what do you bring? Why do you think your friend likes you? What do you think Linda really likes about you? And then and also support them being those amazing friends. So if for instance, one friend brought a packet of chips last week, assist your child to also find out what the other friend likes, and then you can also have something that you're giving to them. So we can actually create environments where we can almost support our children into getting really clear about the characters, into getting real clear about what is a healthy relationship, so that when there's unhealthy ones, they can almost stay away from it. If that's possible. And I always say, my daughter is in primary school and she has conflicts every other day. And I'm open to her always saying, if that friendship doesn't make you happy anymore, if you're not feeling safe and secure, let's try another group of friends. And in the past 3-4 years that she's been at the school, she's gotten around quite a few people, and she's found people she really loves, that she finds way more reliable, who she finds can keep her secrets. These little girls have secrets and stuff. So when we talk about these characters and temperaments, let's have the conversations and give our children this vocabulary so that they can start using it and applying it in their day-to-day lives.
All right. Here's another one where she says, this is such a perfect topic. My daughter is 23 years old and she has the most annoying friend, according to me. Friends from high school. She followed my daughter to Cape Town and convinced my daughter that she is her only true friend because she assisted my daughter in attempting suicide, saying that even her parents, us, and relatives would never go to this level for her. I cannot stand this girl. She is so toxic, but I shut my mouth because if I protest, my daughter and her will get closer. This is a very, very tricky one. What are your thoughts here? Such a sensitive subject of one taking their own life.
Yeah, so here for me would be a little bit more conversation around the values then in this friendship. So talking about what is it that the daughter actually really likes about this friend. Does the daughter actually like the friend? And then also being able to maybe have it in a way that, you're not necessarily being the alarm bringer in terms of just scaring the child, but just to say, listen, I'm noticing 1, 2, 3 in terms of this relationship that you have. How does that feel to you? Are you comfortable with that? Okay. Do you have any other friends that you have? And how do those friends feel when you're with them? Help them be the ones who can notice the issues so that they can be the ones who steer away from the people and say, no, man, there's something wrong here. So that's where we're bringing in these tools that help them think. Remember, at that age of like 23, 24, it's only now that our children's frontal lobes are really starting to develop. They're starting to have a mindset of saying, if 1, 2, 3 happens, then this could be the consequences. So start using day-to-day experiences to show them those consequences, and maybe when it comes to, say, you're watching a TV show and someone's making a bad decision with their friend, start trying to use that to apply it to real life and say, what would you do? What if it was a situation with you and your friend? Would you agree to do that? You know, and use those kind of examples to show them.
I love that, especially the part of using it as an opportunity to have a conversation, especially just to get to know your own child better, because there's something that is drawing them to that person, whether they are 5 or 25. It's a great opportunity to have those communication lines open. So final thoughts, Ayanda?
You know, friendship is so important because in terms of just identity, power, dynamics, and empathy, belonging, that's where their children are starting to really figure out where they stand. But the one thing that we can do as parents that will really give our children the support they need is to give them the tools to tackle those. So you get to listen to say, okay, what happened today with one particular friend? And then you listen to them and say, and how did that make you feel? And if you had to do that again, what would you do different? And then you can actually tell them some about your experiences as well and ask them, what do you think? Do you think I did that wrong? How can I do that better? These conversations that we have, role playing, are so important in teaching. Being able to listen to our children and hear some of these things will actually help us as well identify some of the issues that they're having, so that if they need help, if they need some real coaching, maybe from an actual expert, that's where you can step in, you know. So, and sometimes, you know, we don't realize when our children are the perpetrators of the bad stuff. So we have to kind of like balance it out in terms of just listening to the whole picture and being clear about our own values and trying to teach us and instill those in our children as well.
Ayanda, thank you so much for chatting to us on this topic. If you want to reach out to Ayanda, her website is ayandatetiana.co.za. It's just after 2:30, time for your latest Eyewitness News headlines. Good afternoon.
Thanks, Relebogile. Good afternoon. Members of the media are set to be briefed today on the details of a judicial commission of inquiry probing criminality, political interference and corruption in the criminal justice system. The commission has been established by President Cyril Ramaphosa following explosive allegations of corruption and collusion within the justice system by KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Acting Deputy Chief Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, who has been appointed to chair the inquiry, is expected to provide crucial details relating to the commencement of the commission. Following her release on bail today, alleged baby snatcher Samima Jacobs is expected back in court in October. Jacobs appeared before the Bellville Magistrates Court on charges of kidnapping and defeating the ends of justice for the abduction of a 9-day-old baby a month ago. The court found that she does not pose a flight risk, placing her on house arrest and granting her 4,000 rand bail. According to police, she allegedly pretended to be 3 different women in her plot to abduct the child. And the Relebogile Magistrates Court is expected to hand down judgment in the murder-accused Tiffany Meek's bail application. Meek is linked to the murder of her son Jaden Lee, whose body was discovered outside their Vleerhof home in May. The court has been hearing arguments from the state and defense in the matter for over a week now, with her legal team poking holes in the state's evidence. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 3, or as it happens.
EWN Traffic. There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
702 delivers
on the matters that matter to you.
Hi, this is Craig from Kempton Park. What an amazing experience, I must say, especially visiting, people behind the scenes. There's a lot of amazing people that we don't know about behind the scenes that's working very hard to serve you, the listener. Very, very impressed with everything that's going on. Fantastic studios, very professional setup, trendy, vibey. It epitomizes everything that this radio station does, and definitely it is the radio station for the people.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts,
so we can deliver more on what matters to you.
702 listens.
Let's walk the talk.
to every 702 lander who laced up, showed up, and walked the talk with us this past Sunday. Thank you. The 702 family loved every moment, walking, talking, and connecting with you on the route. You made the 2025 702 Walk the Talk one for the books, and we can't wait to do it all again with you next year. Here's to you, Joburg. Here's to us, 702 landers. And here's to the 2025 702 Walk the Talk, hosted by Freedom Park in the city of Tshwane.
In 50 meters, turn left. You missed the turn.
Okay, technically.
Recalculating.
But the new Haval H7 loves a detour. It's off-road capable yet refined and even a little wild.
A little wild?
Write your own story in the new Haval H7 from $6,999 per month. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and book a test drive. Go with more. Go with the new GWM Haval H7.
In 50 meters, make a U-turn.
Oh, shush.
Unfold extraordinary with the new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 7 512 gig. Get it on a 6 gig Red Core plan from $1,749 per month over 36 months. Experience cinematic viewing, seamless multitasking, and next level productivity. Pre-order yours today from Vodacom, Mzansi's winning 5G network. Available in-store and online. T's and C's apply. Further together, Vodacom.
Life has its own rhythm, but muscle and joint pain may upset the beat.
Noflex gel.
Trust Noflex Gel's triple action formula to target muscle pain, reduce inflammation, and help numb the affected area.
Noflex gel.
So, get your beat back and reclaim the rhythm of life.
Noflex gel.
Beat the pain with Noflex Gel and higher strength Noflex Gel Fort. For more information, speak to your healthcare professional.
You could binge watch a third season this weekend. Or you could grab the new Berry Blue sports drink from Aquila Vive and get moving. Blue has never tasted so good. Bursting with bold berry flavor, packed with electrolytes and vitamins, and free from colorants. Aquila Vive sports and power drinks. Let's move.
The Money Show. Weekday evenings at 6.
Why have you given up on your offer?
No, I haven't given up on my offers. We've started going to the market with 2 key CPs in terms of the transaction.
Mornay, welcome. CEO at High Prop Investment. Why won't you give it to High Prop?
You should probably aim this question at Mass and not at me. I think there's more transparency around this agreement than any other agreement I've ever encountered.
The CEO at Prime Capital, Martin Slubbert.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show with Stephen Curtis is brought to you by Absa Corporate and Investment Bank, a leading Pan-African bank and proud sponsor of the African Blockchain Report 2024. Absa is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Coming up
on 702 Drive.
702 Drive coming up from 3 to 6 p.m. Sir.
Madame Zell, welcome.
Can I just tell everybody what you said to me the moment you saw me in studio?
Yeah,
Thabo.
Please do.
Thabo said, bonjour.
I didn't say bonjour. Hey, I'm not ghetto like that.
He said bonjour.
Oh, I said bonjour. I said bonjour. And I said comment allez-vous. I didn't do the normal ça va.
Listen, the way I was dead every time I was getting calls from bonjour. Like, guys, I said bonjour.
Hey, that filling station, bonjour. This is not it. This is a French greeting.
Where did you learn French?
I did a little bit of French in high school, just a little bit, but I dropped it first term. But generally, I love the French language. It's just out of this world. And I've been to France as well a couple of times. I love it.
You do, but
Yeah.
there's no place like home.
There's no place like home.
Nothing. Guys. Literally, figuratively,
Yeah.
psychologically, there's no aromate.
Yeah, I know.
That thing where it's not just salt. Something that's just going to uplift.
But don't you find the French, they're so best dressed? Even the grannies.
Everybody is stylish.
The grandfathers. You like, hey, man, now, why did I leave my clothes at home? I thought I'm on holiday here.
But not just that, that's their everyday way.
Yeah.
Their everyday, you can see that they thrift. You can see that they have just their own fashion sense. They isn't one style.
Exactly.
Like a lot of young people, I'm sure if you go somewhere on any given day.
Yeah.
You see those like curve hugging dresses. No,
yes.
everybody's
No.
doing their
They're
own
stylish
thing.
there, ne?
Yo.
They're very stylish. I love it.
Otherwise, afternoon drive airing.
Morning. No, Relebogile, thanks very much, and good afternoon to everyone. Well, you might have seen the story in the Citizen newspaper that the power breed ownership issue has come to the fore again. A Free State woman, Kiabetse Morani, was convicted of culpable homicide after her pit bull mauled an 8-year-old to death while playing next door. So she has been found guilty of culpable homicide. And the question we'd like to know, should we have permits before you own a pit bull? Because it's a different breed altogether. I mean, if it comes to this, and we've had chats about pit bulls before, how many more people need to die?
Let me ask you a question. If it was the route of permits, right, what would you say the qualifying criteria needs to be? Because the permit is the one part.
Yeah.
If we were to compare it to having a firearm license, right?
Yeah.
That's one part. But after that, you still have to be a sober-minded person in tricky situations to not use it irresponsibly. So what do you think should be required for you to have a permit?
I think, among others, and I'm just thinking from the top of my head as someone who's not into dogs at all, but I'm just thinking responsible behavior is very important. I think we need to check the history of the person, criminal history and otherwise violent history and everything else that goes with it. But a stable home and also a protected area, whether it's fenced, gates and everything else.
Can I add something maybe that could be seen as controversial?
Please. Yeah.
Because certain, and let's not restrict it to pit bulls, certain breeds, right, require a lot of taking care of and training and all of those things. Do you think finances should play a role? That you should be able to, if you've got a breed that requires X, Y, and Z, you need to be able to prove you can actually afford to maintain whatever that looks like.
It has to be part of the criteria. I know in a democracy we want to pretend that we are all equal, but it's equity that matters more than equality. So I think you're onto something very important. Yes, it's very controversial. We might get some heat for it, but of course it goes with that as well. I agree 100%. But just generally, as you said, not confining it to pit bulls. But if you are going to keep a dog or a pet, please be able to afford it. No,
there are people keeping lions, guys.
Oh, wow.
No, they are, though.
I know. I've seen it.
People keeping lions, so it's a lot.
Well, another thing that we'll be looking into, our Relebogile Action SA, is complaining about a bloated cabinet and is saying that deputy ministers are a financial waste and they are just taking up space. We must do away with 43 deputy ministers because anyway, as we've seen, when a minister is being fired, they are not necessarily being replaced by a deputy. So if they can't fulfill that role, why are they there?
I still need understanding on deputies, but I am going to tune in because I also didn't understand why is that second in command? It's almost treated like two different departments. and isn't it though, because they have different offices, they'd have different. One can release a press statement that the other did not see.
Yeah. The powers generally is that the powers of a deputy minister are derived from the minister. So the minister, if you are my deputy, I wake up as a minister and say, Relebogile, go and open up a school in Rustenburg.
Yeah.
I can't go there. So you don't have your functions yourself. They emanate from.
Yes.
But are we not wasting money, resources, vehicles and everything else on deputy ministers? Should we just say that you have a minister and the office that helps the minister, not another decorative figure? So that's that. And on our talker, we have something very interesting. Your first ride, your first car. How did it make you feel and what was it? And we are saying that on the backdrop of a gentleman who posted on Twitter earlier on that he went to fetch his first car, driving in a taxi, and he paid for everyone else in a taxi.
I was so happy for him.
How was that?
I was the way he was so happy.
Yeah.
Mine is simple. City Golf, 4 gears, 1.3. Bought it 10,000 rand.
Yeah.
Rand. No, I'm lying. Was it 20,000 rand cash? This was in like 2003.
Oh my.
I was 18. And my first trip by myself was literally from home to Josie. I was still around Pretoria at the time, and my
Yeah.
mom was like, I remember her calling me like, Wile. I'm like, yes. She's like, how? If I follow now, I'm like, nope, I'm on the road. And that was with my
What
map
colour?
book. It was white.
Oh man.
It was.
can
There was no
see it.
aircon. There was no
Yeah, yeah,
CD-ROM. It was just very basic. But I was so proud of that car.
Yeah.
And his name was Miles.
Oh man, we miss Miles.
Yes. All right. We'll be tuning in 702 Drive, hosted by Bonjo.
Spend your afternoon
With Relebogile Mabotja.
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
16 minutes to 3 o'clock. We're having a conversation today around the importance of organ donation. And we're going to be joined by 3 guests on this World Hepatitis Day. Dr. Sanju Sobnak, one of South Africa's and the world's leading transplant surgeons. Mr. David Thompson, Dr. David Thompson, who's a transplant surgeon at UCT, as well as Dr. Bilal Bobat, who is a hepatologist at Wits and Donald Gordon Medical Center. Welcome to the show. Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you
And
very
thanks for
much.
highlighting this important topic.
Thank you so much, doctors. And I'm going to start with you, Dr. Sanju. Being a transplant surgeon, I have met many people who are terrified of including themselves on, being an organ donor for many reasons. And I'm curious as to, and maybe you can share with us, why is it so critical that individuals possibly reconsider putting themselves up as organ donors, and maybe we can get everybody to rethink how important it is for that to happen. And maybe you can set the different conditions, because sometimes people can donate, a kidney while they're alive and well, and others, it's upon their death where they say, well, if I'm about to die or I'm on life support, feel free to use whatever is usable.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for having us on board the show today. And thanks for my colleagues for joining me, Dr. Bilal Bobat and Professor Dave Thompson from UCT. I think probably organ donation is one of the most important public health issues we have in South Africa. Unfortunately, we have one of the lowest reported organ donation rates in the world. We have certainly looked into that at various institutions, and some of the concerns are obviously cultural, religious, logistic, financial, and we see that problem similarly in many countries that look alike. So, for example, if you like Brazil, Chile, Argentina, in India, they have similar problems to us in terms of providing and getting organs for the healthcare needs of our population. So why should you donate? You should donate because, number one, you want to donate. That is one of the most important things. And you might not want to be an organ donor in the beginning because you feel there's some religious concerns, some spiritual concerns, you're not sure about it, and you need further education. Now, as to the reasons for why people need organ transplantation, there are too many to be summarized on the show. I mean, a lot of children certainly need liver transplantation for defects they are born with, if I may put this simply. And in adults, what is becoming a rising reason for getting a transplant today, particularly liver transplantation, is the rising incidence of many cancers. The other issue is kidney transplantation, which is, I'm sure all of us has heard of kidney failure in one way or the other. And when patients reach end-stage renal failure where they need to be on dialysis, they obviously can't be on dialysis forever. They need an organ transplanted. I'm going to leave the rest of this debate to Dr. David Thompson, who's quite the world expert in our setting with regards to organ donation. I think he's got a lot to say regarding that, and it might be a bit more valuable.
Professor, just then to pick up on that is just, we've spoken about the many reasons that people have not to do the organ donation thing or put themselves up for it. I remember showing my mom my organ donor card, And fortunately, she has a medical background, having been a nurse. But she jokingly said, oh, well, people are going to be like, well, what is there going to be to bury? Who is this person? But I think maybe because the emphasis is so much on what happens to the person that's donating and not so much on the receiver and how it really can be life-saving.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak as well. I think deceased donation, we have to look at it as a gift that you are giving to help other people. And that is a gift that your family can honor by supporting donation. I think we focus a lot on our registry and being on that organ donor card, but I think you've highlighted the key point. You've spoken to your family about it, because whatever your legislative system on assuming whether people are automatically donors or they have to opt in to be a donor, actually every single system will talk to a grieving family and ask them for permission. And if the grieving family does not support it, the transplant teams do not force the issue. So I think that's something to highlight, that to have these conversations before, engage around them, that your family can honor what your wishes are. And if you want to help people, that's the core fundamental thing, as Dr. Sobnach said, is it must come from within, that you want to help and give back, because that opportunity exists through transplantation, and not just of organs. It can be through corneal donation, and you help blind people see. It can be through skin donation, which when you donate a thin layer of skin is going to go to children in busy burns units and give them a bigger chance of survival, of getting through those horrendous injuries. So I think we need to think of donation at the end of life as something that we all should be considering supporting and talking about it a whole lot more. So thank you for this opportunity. The majority of the benefit comes from deceased donors. It is possible in South Africa to donate a part of your liver or one kidney, assuming you are going to live a normal, good life with whatever's left behind, because we would not take it from you unless you were going to live longer than the general population with that little bit less. So we do screen those donors, and not every family has a living donor option that can work out for them. So it's really important that we do support living donation, but also deceased donation, because everyone should be could be considered a donor, because I think we'd all want to think that we could potentially receive wherever you are in society.
Definitely. So, Dr. Bilal, please can you just chat to us then about hepatitis and some of the key things that we need to be aware of, and then tie it into organ donation?
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I've just finished my clinic, and one of the patients that I saw today is celebrating his 20th anniversary of his liver transplant next month, which is wonderful. And we're seeing more and more of these patients as Fritz Donald Gordon celebrates its 20th anniversary of functioning, which we had last year. These people have seen their grandkids grow up, their children grow up, get married, live full and productive lives, and have thrived thanks to that gift. So I also want to emphasize, if you have made the decision that you want to be an organ donor, tell your family. Tell your family so that your wishes can be respected. Moving on, it is World Hepatitis Day today. And this is the condition that affects approximately 900,000, just under 1 million patients with viral hepatitis C, and a significantly a greater number, something around 3.5 million with hepatitis B in South Africa. Both of these viruses can be chronic and lead to the end stage of liver disease termed cirrhosis. Cirrhosis is where the liver is scarred and malfunctions because of chronic inflammation that these viruses give. Now, this is a real tragedy because we now have effective therapy that can actually reverse cirrhosis for viral hepatitis B. That's chronic medication that you need to stay on. It's very cheap. It's in fact one of the common ARVs that has a dual purpose. And then for hepatitis C, we have a 3-month course that will result in cure. So these, you've got that just over 4 million individuals that are affected by viral hepatitis and often don't even know that they have the condition because the inflammation is not often overt. You don't necessarily feel ill, or it's so slow and insidious that these patients kind of brush off their symptoms, not understanding that they're actually ill until it's too late, when they either present with a large liver cancer or the symptoms of end-stage cirrhosis.
Sure. So there is quite a bit there, but thank you so much, Doctor, just for sharing an overview and what we need to be aware of. I want to go to the lines as there are some questions that are coming through. Ash in Pretoria, go ahead.
Yes, hi. I would like to ask the doctor, I'm interested in donating my organs. I just want to know, when I donate my organs and it gets transplanted to the person in need, do they do the transplants for free? Or is my organ going to be donated and then the doctors charge the patients a fee?
So you're specifically speaking about that the patient does not pay for the organ itself, but there are costs. Is that what you're asking about, the costs around the transplant?
Yes.
Okay. And that's quite a big one. I'm going to give this to you, Dr. Sanju, because I also know that there are many people who get quite upset when we have conversations about blood donation, where they say, well, I donate for free, but now when I have to receive donated blood, I get charged and there are costs associated with certain things. But if you can jump in and share with us that, does the patient who is receiving an organ, do they get it like that whole thing for free, or do they have to pay?
So I'm going to humbly leave this question to Professor Thompson, who's done quite a lot of work in cost recovery.
Yes, yes.
I just want to tell you I'm a transplant surgeon in the state, and I can tell you from the state point of view, as you know, it's healthcare is a right, and the cost to recovery from there is often difficult, but it is free in the state sector. But I just want to hear interestingly what Dave has to say about that. I mean, and Bilal will also have an interesting perspective being in a hybrid system. What does that mean? And I certainly don't think it's an answer really cast in stone, but Ash, very interesting question, quite relevant.
Prof, I'll start with
you. So basically the donor will have no costs. So anyone donating an organ, being it a living donor or a deceased donor, there should be no additional costs related to the fact of donation, but there are costs incurred. And you mentioned blood donation, but we must understand that there's a whole distribution network, infectious donor screening, entire team behind safely working up blood, processing it, delivering it to the patients in need, that does then get recovered from the recipients. So organs are allocated on medical urgency within South Africa. So those are clear medical criteria, because we do realize we're operating with a scarce resource. But then the recipients, be it the state sector funding them from their grants to the big hospitals to make transplantation a service that is offered, or by the funder's medical aid, by the patient's medical scheme or funding system in the private sector, those costs for the recovery and the logistics that go into that are recovered from the recipient. But just to stress, the donor should have no additional costs. Those should be completely offset. So don't worry that being a donor will cost you or your family any extra money. That is definitely written into law, must not happen.
I want to quickly ask a question, and I'm not sure if who it needs to be directed to, but Anonymous asks, why is it that people who are HIV positive are not allowed to donate, even though they take their ARVs and their numbers might be in a good place? Why not donate to others with HIV?
I can possibly take this one. We have actually done that at Donald Gordon, where a HIV positive mother was able to donate, a well-controlled HIV positive mother was able to donate a portion of her liver to her child. Her child continues to do well. And then HIV positive to HIV positive kidney transplants also occur. It is just that it does become a little bit more technical in terms of the quality of organ and how well controlled the HIV is.
Thank you so much for explaining and sharing that, doctors and Professor. Thank you so much for your time. And I really do hope more and more people get the information and sign themselves up to be organ donors in South Africa. And just the final one, I'm going to direct it to you, Professor, that I was once told that if you should ideally not donate to strangers while you are still well and alive in case your child or a sibling or a parent needs a donation.
So I think the chance of that happening is really, really low if you look at the incidence. So I wouldn't be worried about that. We do allow altruistic donation where you do not know the recipient and you would like to donate as a living donor your organ. But at the end of life, that has to happen at that point in time. So it's whoever's on the waiting list at that point in time is the best match and the best person to benefit from it. That would be how it would happen at the end of your life. As a living donor, altruistic donors go through a rigorous screening process to check the motivations behind it. There's a psychological assessment to make sure where is this coming from and to check that there's no financial incentive happening that is completely illegal to be offered that way. So most living donors do come from within families. But I wouldn't slow that down because that chance is really tiny. And if you want to help, you can step forward and put yourself forward to do that.
Thank you so much, doctors and Professor.
At Bright, we don't just provide business insurance, we insure your businesses.
Future success.
Because your business is so much more than desks and computers and equipment, which is why we use our specialist expertise to tailor solutions for each client differently to ensure what's really important. So insure your businesses.
Financial security, BT.
With Bright today, contact your broker or go to brightinsure.co.za to find out more. Bright. Approach risk with purpose. Bright is a licensed insurer and authorized FSP.
Calling all golf pros. Hollywood Bets invites you to step onto the green. Tee up, take a swing and enjoy glorious golf action from electrifying competitions and thrilling live tournaments. Get ready to conquer the fairway and chase epic fortunes. Ready to master the odds and experience your crowning moment? Bet now on all the excitement and prepare to make your hole-in-one shot to sensational success. T's and C's apply.
Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Okay, it's time. An employee review of my F&B Gold Business account. You give me 10 free transactions a month, and you even help me pay my banking fees using eBucks. Batung, unlocking more cash from my salon. No other card does this. You reward me so much, I want to reward you.
The F&B Gold Business account. No other card works harder for your business because your cash flow is worth it. F&B, help changes everything. TCs and earn rules apply. F&B, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized FSP and credit provider.
Thank you so much for joining. Back tomorrow. It's just after 3 o'clock.